It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I am Iron Man.
I'm Pickle Rick!
I have a dream.
I am your father.
I'm Sean Spencer. This is my partner, Gus Silly Pants Jackson.
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
God bless America.
Avengers!
Assemble.
That's life. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune. When I'm back on top in June. I said that's life.
Welcome back to life. Ladies and gentlemen, I've missed you. I know it's only been a short few days since I last talked to you, but I missed you. I want to thank Jessica for coming on the podcast last week. Her episode broke all the records for the very short life of That's Life podcast, no pun intended. But her episode shattered records. So cool to see. Also quite terrifying. I didn't realize there was that many psychotic people out there that are obsessed with murder, death, and so on. Like just sadness and depression and misery and nipple belts that we talked about. And did I mention murder? Why are there so many of you obsessed with murder? So many of you. I don't know if I should be grateful for the amount of downloads or terrified for the amount of downloads. But I appreciate you. Please don't come kill me. Because I know you all know how, and you know how to clean up your crime scene. I had someone DM me and say, I would always get away with murder if I actually tried. Thank you. That is not a DM I would like to receive. I would rather receive any other DM, I would think. How about, I hate you, you're ugly, anything besides, I know how to get away with murder. And then you just leave. You just left the DM. You didn't respond back to my response. You just said, I can get away with murder, and then bam, gone into the distance. Pretty sure that I haven't slept since then. But hey, we got another episode to do, so I had to get my butt out of bed. And we're talking about conspiracy theories. Now, I have another sister that is obsessed with conspiracy theories. Jennifer Hines, I love you to death. You're a little bit cray-cray when it comes to conspiracy theories. I mean, she believes them all. Like, she's the person where if you want to have a detailed conversation or an intimate conversation, you know, your phone has to be located on the neighbor's house 3 streets down, because you can't just turn it off, because the government can turn on and off your phone whenever they want with the magical chips that they have. And so, you know, she is that kind of person. You know, we're locking phones in safes so we can talk about the Oregon Ducks, whatever it may be. Jen believes all the conspiracy theories. Gas prices go up, it's a conspiracy theory against gas. It doesn't matter. Jennifer is the conspiracy theorist of the family. So it got me to thinking last week when we were talking about murder and death and all these beautiful things on last week's episode. I was like, let's talk about conspiracy theories, because there's so many great ones out there. And so I just looked up, I was like, what are the top 20? Now, I'm not going to do all 20 of them, but I looked up the top 20 most believed conspiracy theories as of 2022. So that means that the people that believe in these conspiracy theories still exist. This isn't something from 2001. This is like legit in 2022. These are the most popular conspiracy theories, and we're going to go through them. Now, I do want to point out something. When Jen does say that the government does listen to your phone calls, we can all be honest and say that they actually do, though. That's the one conspiracy theory that it's not really a conspiracy theory, it's fact. The other day, I was talking to somebody about kayaks. I was not Googling kayaks. I did not look up kayaks prior. It wasn't on my Amazon wish list, nothing. I just mentioned about maybe looking into a kayak. I like to kayak. It's peaceful. And, you know, like, it's just fun. I don't have to justify why I want a kayak. I want a kayak. And so I'm talking to this person about kayaks. Then on my Instagram, my Facebook, and my Twitter, ads for kayaks popped up. I went to my Amazon that same day, and guess what? A deal for a kayak, a 2-person kayak popped up. Okay, I got it, government. You don't have to listen to everything. Right? Like, if I mention the word terrorist or murder, maybe pop on that microphone inside my phone then. But if I'm talking about kayaks, I mean, you don't have to, like, legit stalk me. So the government is listening. Let's be honest there. I'd appreciate it if they listen to this podcast, get our views up, you know, maybe get some revenue, some ad revenue. I don't know. We'll see. But the government is listening. So I do believe that is not a conspiracy theory. That is 100% true. And you all know it. You can talk about something or think about buying something, and then it starts popping up on your phone. Yeah, it's super creepy. But we're not going to get into those kind of details. We're going to get into the big conspiracy theories. Also, here's one that I'm not even going to really get into heavy detail about. It's just one that I heard in passing through a conversation when I was talking to somebody about the conspiracy theory podcast. Someone said, a human being said these words to my face. Birds are robots made by the government to spy on everybody at all times. You see, what happens when I get frustrated is blood starts to boil. Blood starts to boil. And when blood starts to boil, it's hard for me to hold back my thoughts. What do you mean? Birds are fake. I owned 3 birds. I watched a coyote rip them apart. His mouth wasn't sparking from the from the Terminator parts that the birds were made out of. Nope, it was blood and bone. The government does not have, that's, I think, where I draw. I like conspiracy theories. I like to dive into them. I like to believe in some of them. That's where I draw my conspiracy theory line. If you're trying, that and flat earthers. If you're a flat earther, you can stop talking forever. But fake bird people that say the government has fake birds, that's the line where I'm just like, no, I'm good. I'll believe just about anything. Aliens are real. We've had a country living on Mars for years. There's some crazy ones that we're going to read here in a second. And I'll believe just about anything. But I can't. Birds are real. Stop telling me that I can't with that one. And then if you're a flat earther, I'm done talking to you. There's 3 people that believe in the flat earth theory that I know of. And I don't care if they are family. See ya. Adios. Why don't you get in a sailboat and sail off the edge of the flat earth? Oh, you can't do that, can you? Because the earth is round. We have definitive proof. There's not one legitimate, respected scientist that can go, oh, I think the earth is flat. Okay. Well, I don't think that you went to science school. Whatever. I don't think you went and got your doctorate in science. I think that you maybe have gone to a science museum. Maybe you watched Bill Nye quite a bit, but you are not a real scientist if you think that the earth is flat. So that's where I draw my line. I don't go into those ridiculous things like birds are fake, the earth is flat, the world's made of nothing but zombies. I'm not that person. But I do have some fun ones that I do kind of believe in. And after reading a bunch of these, it's going to just pique some interest. We're going to start off with the first one, all right? And the first one, it's pretty obvious. We got to talk about the moon landing. Just a little bit. We're going to get through some, of course, the ones that have just stood the test of time for years and years. But the moon landing is probably the most consistent one as being referred to as fake. So the biggest things are the flag is moving in the wind, the shadows are misaligned with the astronaut, the flag, the spaceship. There's no stars in the sky or in any of the pictures, so they're saying that this is just a doctored picture that was on set. So someone literally, just like they shot the movie Apollo 13, they went and staged an entire set of the moon landing. And that NASA's not only been keeping the secret for years, but this secret has been protected by the CIA since 1969. No, I don't know if you've ever kept a secret or not, but kind of difficult, right? I'd say a lot a bit difficult. I don't believe that there's ever one person that's ever kept a secret from death, from life till death. You're telling me you didn't tell one person somebody's secret? You didn't tell one person somebody's deep, dark secret? You're telling me you've kept a deep, dark secret for somebody your entire life, and it's never weighed down on you? It's never eaten you alive? You've never even slipped up one time? Never happened. If there was ever a person that has walked on this earth that could ever have kept a secret from life till death, and then life again, because it would be Jesus Christ. There's no one on this earth that could keep this big of a secret. Neil Armstrong at some point would have caved under the pressure. Neil Armstrong at some point would have been offered such high amount of money that it would be too ridiculous for him not to blow the whistle on the entire thing. Think about every major scandal. Think about every major plot point. Think about every major conspiracy theory that eventually ended up becoming true. Someone blew the whistle. There's a whistleblower. This would have had a whistle blown all over it. Neil Armstrong would have caved in. There's no, and there's no way in my mind he could have kept this secret from 1969, the plan of that secret from 1969, and you're telling me the amount of people that had to work on this, because this wasn't 3 people that set this entire thing up. There was hundreds of people that would have had to have been in on this. So you're telling me that for 30 years, 40 years, you can keep the biggest secret in American history, and not one person that was involved was like, I think I'm going to go tell everybody. Not one person was like, hey, I'm going to steal some evidence here and then go to some guy who's going to offer me $300 million to tell the world. You're telling me not one person. And that's why I believe that the moon landing 100% happened. Think about how crazy the world is, by the way. This just came to my mind. In 2020, the United States government released proof that aliens exist on the news. And it was the underlying headline under COVID-19. COVID-19 was number 1. And aliens being real was number 2. That was their follow-up story. You know, like when the news starts and they go, breaking news, 47 people murdered today with a box cutter. You're like, first off, not one of you could get away from the box cutter. But, like, that's what leads the news. It was like COVID-19 and also aliens are real. Back to you, Bill. And you're like, hold up, can you go back to, hey, can we rewind that a little bit? You were just telling me the weather, and now you're telling me that aliens exist, and you're putting proof on the actual news. That was the underline of 2020 and 2021. So that's how you know how crazy the world is. That's how you know how crazy all this stuff gets. That's why I truly believe that, of course, we landed on the moon, that the moon landing was 100% real. We're taking guesses and we're taking, conjuncture of what we might think the moon would be like. Guess what? There's only a few people have ever been up there, so they're the only ones that can actually tell us if the flag would be blowing in the wind, if there would be stars in the background. Who knows? We don't know. Maybe there were stars in the background, but the camera wasn't too high quality. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's get off the moon landing because, like I said, that's a pretty passionate one that a lot of people have. By the way, guys, there's like 7. This is the top 30 that I pulled up. And there's like 7 all about COVID-19. COVID-19 was engineered in a lab. COVID-19 was engineered by the media. The COVID vaccine has chips in it. The COVID-19 is just dominating the conspiracy theory world right now. This one, though, this one's insane to me. Disney created the movie Frozen as a distraction. All right, listen to this, people. We have long discussed, now we all know this, that they have long discussed the conspiracy theory that Walt Disney used cryogenics technology to freeze himself when he died. That's like one of the biggest myths of all time, that he is frozen and that he's, somewhere in Disney World frozen, right? And of course, since the beginning of this, the Disney family and the Disney name has always refuted the claim that he absolutely no way would ever do that. We have no idea what you're talking about. We've never even heard of cryogenics technology. They've refuted it since the beginning of it, right? But here's the new theory. The new theory is that Walt Disney Company created the movie Frozen as a way to hack Google's search algorithm and distract consumers from the information about Walt Disney freezing himself. That is insane, right? First off, I wish that he did freeze himself, and I hope that he did because I'm a massive Captain America fan. He's my favorite, and he was frozen in the earth for like 7 years and then came back alive. Now, I don't think Walt Disney could come back alive. I mean, I'm also not refuting that because how wild would that be if like he just comes out and he's just as racist as he was back then, and then he realizes that the world's way more progressive now, and like, how blown away he would be that there was a black princess in Tiana. Like, that would be amazing to see some psychopath like that. Because, let's be honest, Walt Disney wasn't a good person, okay? Like, he created a lot of really cool stuff, and we all love Disney World, but he was one of the, like, worst human beings in the entire world. Now, I mean, this is just from stuff that I've read off of Google, but just how funny would that be? Like Captain America came back, and he was just adjusting to the new life and technology, and Walt Disney comes back, and he's like, they can vote? There's a black princess? What's going on here? And he's so mad. Oh, it would be, it would be so funny. Because just watching, especially with like today's culture and with media, he would be canceled in 2 seconds. Disney World would be shut down. The happiest place on earth would become like the quickest shut down place on earth. It would be amazing. But Isn't this wild just to even think about, though? The fact that Walt Disney, because here's the deal. Disney World has taken over the world, literally. The fact that we're all not living in Mickey Mouse houses now blows my mind now. Because they literally own everything. Everybody's obsessed with it. People fly from all over the world to come to Walt Disney World and Disneyland. So how crazy would it be if not crazy. You've got to believe that Disney has some major power. And I think that, I'm not saying that this one's not true, but I'm kind of saying that I believe in this one just a little bit. Okay? Like Disney making a movie called Frozen so that they could hack the Google algorithm. And I tried it, guys, by the way. Walt Disney Frozen. Walt Disney being frozen. Guess what pops up? Frozen. You have to scroll like 3 or 4 pages to finally get the results of Walt Disney being frozen, the cryogenics procedure, why he even thought about it, or mention it. Like, you have to go so far. So it 100% worked. Because all that pops up when I say Walt Disney frozen Walt Disney body is Anna, Elsa, and Olaf. That's the only thing that pops up now. So when it comes to Frozen being created to cover up Walt Disney being frozen, I'm going to believe in it. This next one is actually apparently super popular. I've never heard of it. That Denver International Airport is the Illuminati's headquarters. And in fact, the Denver International Airport embraces the rumors by poking fun at it in their gift shops, but also has not stopped people from believing that it has secret tunnels, lizard layers, and that they lurk beneath the entire airport and stretch for miles. Okay, first off, if you're going to run a company, have you been to an airport? Airports suck. I spent all weekend in an airport, okay? And it sucks. If there's ever a place that a lair might be and that a secret headquarters might be, it would be the airport because everybody there is miserable. No one's paying attention to what's going on. Everybody's just getting drunk off their asses before they get on their flight to Oklahoma or back to Chicago or wherever, right? Why not let this be the headquarters? Now, it would be a pretty noisy headquarters, and it would be a son of a gun to get to work every day. You know, you walk in with your fake passports and your fake flights, and you have to go through security. Like, every day you have to take off your shoes before you could even go into work. That, for me, I'm out. Like, if I'm part of the Illuminati, I'm out right there. I have to take off my shoes how many times? How many times today? Twice to get in it? No, I'm good. I'm good. For me, it's just super inconvenient. But at the same time, it's kind of believable. And the fact that Denver has never refuted this evidence and Denver just kind of believed. Now, it could be just the Denver International Airport trying to be hip and cool and be like, yeah, of course the Illuminati's here. So maybe they're just trying to do one of those numbers because no one wants to go to Denver unless they're playing for the Broncos or unless they want to go smoke some weed. I've never been to Denver, so I can't really crap on the city too much. I'm just being a sarcastic jerk, but that's what I do. But why not? I'll believe in this one. I'm always in for a National Treasures plot where there's these secret tunnels that lead to whatever a lizard lair is with the Illuminati and like that. It would just be really funny that like all the members of the Illuminati would have to go through airport security just to get into work that day. For me, that's enough of a laugh to make me believe in it. The Denver International Airport is the headquarters of the Illuminati. Here's another good one that is super popular right now. Prince Charles is a vampire. Why is Prince Charles a vampire, you might ask? Well, the Prince of Wales himself is actually related to Vlad the Impaler, which is where they get the Dracula inspiration. Many of his family members are related to Vlad the Impaler. In fact, the Charles bloodline is filled with just that, a bloody bloodline. No pun intended, I guess. They were known to have a disease as well called porphyria. It's a big word with a lot of P's and H's, and there's a Rhea at the end. But which is basically an iron deficiency that causes people to be very, very sensitive to sunlight and bright lights. I'm in, right? Who doesn't want to believe that vampires are real? If you're getting eaten by one, you probably don't want to believe it. But I've always been, I love werewolves, vampires, Frankenstein. I love all those mythological, all that mythological crap. And I know you're like, Jacob, but you so don't look like a nerd. Well, if my many superhero tattoos have anything to say about it, this is cool. It's also super unique and crazy that he is related to Vlad the Impaler, and that a lot of his bloodline is related to Vlad the Impaler. Well, obviously, because he's related to him. And that they all have a disease that ends with urea, not gonorrhea, but it's the porphyria, and it makes them have low iron. Therefore, they're very sensitive to bright lights and sunlight. Like, that's pretty cool. And it's kind of like, there's only so many coincidences that you can have, right? And I guess this is where the conspiracy theories start turning, is people see one dot, they connect the other, now he's a vampire. Here's all I'm saying, is if Prince Charles is a vampire, then I want to believe wholeheartedly that Abraham Lincoln was the actual real vampire slayer. It wasn't the famous Von Helsing that we all know of. So if that's the case, if one world leader is going to be a vampire, then I want my world leader to be the vampire slayer, just because it was a terrible movie, but at the same time, it's kind of cool that like Abraham Lincoln was freeing slaves and pushing America on a better foot forward in one part of his day, and then going out and fighting Prince Charles's family members in the evening. That's just a cool thing to think about. So I'm gonna go ahead and believe in this one just because it's cool to think about. Bigfoot is real. Of course, this is probably one of the bigger ones out there. Now, a reason I brought this one into it is because my brother-in-law, Steve Hines, the Hines family, we've talked about them being conspiracy theorists, but Steve is a big believer in Bigfoot, dragons, all kinds of fun stuff. So, Steve, this one goes out to you. He 100% believes that Bigfoot is real. He listens to a Bigfoot podcast. If I knew the name, I would shout it out on here, but I will have to tag him in this one because he'll get a kick out of this. But Bigfoot and or Sasquatch, whoever name you might call him by, I call him Bigfoot because Sasquatch just seems like way too many letters for no reason, is an exclusive creature that exists and has existed for centuries. For years, people have tried to track him down, resulting in many videos, images emerging of tall, hairy animals walking upright through the woods. Yeah, Bigfoot, I don't really believe in this one, but if I'm going to believe that Prince Charles is the vampire, listen, I think this whole podcast is just going to be me going, I now believe in something absolutely insane. So I'm going to go ahead and believe in Bigfoot. Okay, Steve's given me a lot of things to really think about. There's a lot of really interesting facts, and I'll have to tag the podcast that he listens to under mine because, well, A, mine's first, and then his can come second. But two, apparently they do like deep dives into why Bigfoot's real, and I listened to one episode. It's super intriguing, and I'm not gonna lie, they give you a lot of things to think about. And that's all you can ask for with conspiracy theories. Just poke a little bit. Move the needle a tad. Because once you get the ball rolling, then the steam picks up, and now we are where we are with the Bigfoot scenario, where everybody believes that he's real. There's been many blurry pictures. There's this famous picture, the blurry black and white one that has been out there for years. I actually have a story of, and I talked about it on my Instagram, as I was wearing a Bigfoot hat at a grocery store, and an elder gentleman came up to me, and he said, I appreciate the fact that you have a Heisman trophy on your hat. And I go, I'm sorry, what did you say? And he thought that my Bigfoot hat was the Heisman Trophy from college football. And that, my friends, was not a conspiracy theory. That was a real conversation that a real human being had to my very real face and my very real ears listened to. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and believe in Bigfoot because why not? And I'll tag the podcast below just because it's a lot of fun. And if you like that mythical stuff, so it's a good listen. All right, this one's kind of weird. The Nazis have a secret base in Antarctica. Now, first off, if there was ever a place to build a very racist base, it would be Antarctica. No one's going there, right? So if you're going to have the worst ideologies and you're going to be a communism and you're going to be a Nazi, all things that everybody in the world hates, like, go up there. If you're going to be racist and crazy, at least go as far as you possibly can and as cold as you possibly can, because then you're not bothering anybody. No one's going up to Antarctica to start a war with these Nazis that are up there, apparently. Okay? Also, this sounds like the plot to Captain America, the first Avenger, when the Red Skull had a base in like the Himalayan mountains in the freezing cold out of nowhere. Just saying. There's something about Nazis and being ice cold, well, probably because of their hearts. But if they're going to be racist, like I said, just let them go up to the north. You can be a racist piece of crap up there. Nobody wants it down here. We're all about inclusion. Especially my family. I have an Asian sister who I love dearly. I don't know that Asian had to be stated, but what I'm trying to say is We love people of all ethnicities, race, and colors, and that if you're racist, you can go screw yourself. Okay, rumors have begun circulating since the 1950s that the Nazis have a secret base in Antarctica that housed advanced technology like UFOs. However, since there has been no evidence, there has been no discoveries to suggest that this is true, a Cambridge research professor named Colin Summerhays wrote a 21-page paper disputing it. But nonetheless, people still believe in it as of 2022. So some random professor basically was like, it's full of crap. I'm going to write an essay that says it's not true, but we have not gone up there and really discovered too hard, have we? Like, have you ever heard of expeditions going on in Antarctica? I'm sure there are some, but mainly it's like, oh, we found another tomb in Egypt. Not many people are up in Antarctica digging for old Nazi bases and UFOs. Is there going to be a group that needs to go do this? I mean, absolutely. If someone wants to fund me, I'll go up there with a shovel and a very warm jacket if you're going to pay me to go up there and search for Nazi bases and UFOs, because who doesn't like an adventure? If this does not sound like the plot of Indiana Jones 7, then I don't know what ever will. I mean, the last one had aliens in it, okay? The Legend of the Crystal Skull or whatever. So, Indiana Jones fought a lot of Nazis. This would be a perfect scenario. Young Indiana Jones goes up to Antarctica, finds a secret Nazi base, but wait, there's more. They have UFOs. And they use these UFOs and they're trying to take over America with them. It would be bonkers. Harrison Ford, I'm sure he could grumble his way through another Indiana Jones. Put on the hat one more time. Come on, we can do it. I don't know that I disbelieve in this one. I don't know that I believe in this one. So I'm going to put refuse to answer. But then I'll summarize it with, if you're racist, go up to Antarctica. Because no one wants you anywhere else. We're all living in a matrix. Now, this one's super popular. But I mean, it's because you have Keanu Reeves in The Matrix, and everybody loves Keanu Reeves. Even if you don't like Keanu Reeves, you love Keanu Reeves. You just don't know it yet, right? He's just such a likable actor. And so basically the theory is that we've all been living in the Matrix and that, our lives are just living out the Matrix. If that were true, we wouldn't have so many horrible things. If you watch The Matrix, it's not, besides Neo chasing down the bad people, and Trinity chasing down the bad people or whatever, The Matrix seems like a lot of really chill people. The Oracle seems pretty cool. A lot of people are just walking to work on busy streets, and then Neo comes in and he's flying around the city, and he's, trying to kill Agent Smith. So if this was The Matrix, maybe I wouldn't have to pay as many taxes. If this was The Matrix, maybe we all could fly, like Neo. What if we could fly? What if we all got up to heaven one day and God was like, hey, you guys could have flown, right? And you're like, what? We could have flown? I didn't have to drive to volleyball tournaments every weekend? Anyways, the little things in life, right? All right, this next one is actually one of the highest growing ones. There's a large group of people that believe that the moon is fake. That is right. They believe that the moon is a man-made tool and that it is fake and that it is used to spy on us. This article also states that most people believe that the moon is fake are flat earthers. Of course they are flat earthers! If Family Feud had a top 5 if you think the moon is fake category, the number one answer would be flat earthers. Because one moron deserves another moron. What do you think this is? Do you think this is the Truman Show? Do you think this is the Truman Show? Good morning. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. You think this is the Truman Show, where there's a group of people that live inside the moon, the fake moon, I put in parentheses, and they're just watching over the earth? Okay, I believe in comic book stuff, right? But I would never believe that there's a group of people that live in the moon, that the moon is fake, and they are just overseeing the earth. Unless those people in the moon are Jim Carrey, you're watching the Truman Show. If you believe that, you're doing shrooms and watching the Truman Show. You flat earth and non-moon believing people, sometimes with this world. Good grief. All right, let's get to a lot funnier one. 9/11 was an inside job. No, I'm just joking. It's a bad joke. It's a bad joke. It was a bad joke. I get it. It was a bad joke. There's nothing funny about 9/11. I made a very dark joke, and I apologize. Let's go back to you flat earthers being the stupidest people around. Also, that the moon isn't real. Like, people. This is another super popular one, and the Titanic actually has several, and I didn't know that. But the Titanic didn't actually sink. Instead, the biggest conspiracy theory going around in 2022 is that this tragic accident has been flip-flopped with another ship. In fact, the Titanic did sail majestically and did not hit an iceberg, but the Olympic crashed into an iceberg. The one sad fact remains, though, is that still like 1,600 passengers were murdered whenever the ship crashed. So whether it's the Titanic or the Olympic, either way, a lot of people died, and it's really sad, and it was a really big ship that sunk. So the only conspiracy theory we can that can be like bartered back and forth with this is that the movie sucks. Okay? Let's be honest. The movie's terrible. Leonardo DiCaprio is okay. Why so many girls love the movie Titanic? It's 4 hours of just the worst. It's terrible. And guess what? Spoiler alert, everyone dies except for like 70 people. Also, there was definitely room for Jack on that door. Now, that's a conspiracy theory I can get behind. There was so much room for Jack, and she just let him slip into the abyss. Heartless, heartless, heartless woman. I mean, here's the deal. If I paint a portrait of you naked, you let me live. I think that's how that works. Okay? This one's really good. And we'll go probably just 2 or 3 more here. But Amelia Earhart was eaten alive by crabs. Amelia Earhart has been shrouded in mystery for years, ever since her aircraft disappeared in 1937. While it's widely believed that she just ran out of fuel and crashed into the ocean, some think that she landed by mistake on a deserted island and it was eventually eaten alive by 3-foot-long coconut crabs that inhabited the shores. Talk about a way to go out. First off, you're just flying. You're doing what no woman had done before. Like, you're a poster child for young girls as being an absolute hero. And then you just magically disappear in 1937. No one can find you. You're just gone. But when they find you, there's 3-foot crabs eating you alive. First off, talk about a way to go out. Now, that's like, if I'm gonna die, I want it to be memorable. And being eaten alive by these 3-foot crabs that apparently, I must be stupid, exist. I thought I was a moron. Like, I Googled coconut crab. It's a very real thing. It's a very large thing. And it looks like it hurts very much. Especially if you're alive and you have like 5 of these things eating you alive. Like, literally makes my skin crawl. Here's the deal. This is a conspiracy theory I'm going to believe in just for the myth of it, right? Like, this is a conspiracy theory that if I were to ever get behind wholeheartedly, this is the one I'm going to do it. No, her plane didn't run out of fuel and she didn't crash into the ocean. She landed on a deserted island and was eaten alive by 3-foot crabs. That's so cool. That, you know how, like, I don't know why. It's probably just because I grew up with Disney and I grew up, with 3 sisters. And, we were big into Disney and I watched a lot of The Little Mermaid. But I can just see, like, these crabs just singing while eating her. Guess who got me on the plate? Oh, under the sea, ba-ba-ba-ba. As they're, like, ripping her from limb. I don't know. Maybe I just have a sick brain, but I thought that was a really funny image. And it was just, I don't know why that brought me so much joy. Oh, man. Oh, Amelia Earhart, come here. The seaweed is always greener, but your blood is on the shore. As they're just, like, ripping her. Okay, you got the point. Just imagine like a bunch of 3-foot Sebastians eating Amelia Earhart alive. And hopefully you'll get a smile out of it. All right, let's go 2 more here. This one's kind of weird, but it seems like a progressive topic. So let's go ahead and and talk about it. Queen Elizabeth was actually a man, which in today's society would be accepted. But back then, I'm pretty sure they would hang the man. Some believe that Queen Elizabeth died as a child, and that to prevent the end of the royal bloodline, she was replaced with a young boy. This theory is said to explain why the ruler remained chaste throughout his entire reign. I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Stuff like this happened in Egypt culture a lot, where when the young bloodline would die, they would like quickly... It's like when your kid's pet goldfish dies, and then you just switch it out with one that's very similar before they get home from school, so nobody's like, what happened to Carl? And it's like, Carl's alive, he's swimming in there. Carl looks a lot fatter, and also, why is he, silver instead of gold? Don't ask questions. Like, the Egyptians did that with people all the time, where it's like the 7-year-old pharaoh would die because he was and I mean, not to be crude, but he was inbred the entire time. When brothers and sisters were making other brothers and sisters to rule, your baby's going to come out deformed. And I mean, think about King Tut and all the stories we have from Egypt. I love Egyptian culture, just so you all know. Like, they had club feet, many of them couldn't walk, and a lot of them died at very young ages, mainly under the age of 16 to 17, because they were so deformed and they were so inbred. So, I mean, I would have to believe that the royal bloodlines probably did the same thing back then. And if they would, no one's going to relinquish power. Power is the biggest thing that everybody runs around with now. If you have power, that's what gave you status. So I'm sure that in order to keep the power, they said, hey, listen, Charlie, come over here, bud. How's about you start wearing dresses and you start shaving? And he's like, oh, I guess. And pretended to be. I would not see why this would not be true. I'm going to go ahead and say that this is 100% true, and I like the thought that this family was so sadistic and so crazy that they made their little boy turn into a grown woman and rule the country. So this one gets my stamp of approval. I believe in it. All right, we've got let's go 2 more here. This one really quickly, just because I thought this was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Airplane exhaust trails are filled with chemicals that the government is spraying over its people. So like when you see an airplane in the sky and it's got those white streaks behind it, people are saying that it is filled with a certain chemical that the government is they're crop dusting humans. That normal airlines are crop dusting humans. I mean, sure. That sounds like such an inconvenient way to do it. Like, why not put poison in vapes? Everybody, it seems like, vapes nowadays. I mean, I don't vape. But if you're going to try and, is it brainwashing smoke? No one can give me an answer. They just said that the government's and see, these are the people I don't like. The people that just look at normal everyday things and they're just like, I bet you that smoke is the government trying to control us with some weird vape cloud. It's like, what? No. Like, whoa, when they make me put in my credit card to pay, that's the government tracking how many, energy drinks I buy per year. It's like, can you shut up? At some point, can we just stop being this dumb? So I just wanted to hit that one real quick because I thought that was one of the dumbest things I've ever read. There's also a lot of conspiracy theories about how 5G causes cancer and how 5G can lead to harmful radiation. And if we're being honest, all the devices we're putting up to our face, we're basically cooking our brains until we eventually die. The stuff that I'm using in all these electronics, if you don't believe that that's poisoning and ruining your brain, then, maybe you're too far gone. Okay? All right, this last one, let's just go with the abominable snowman lives in Asia. Much like Bigfoot. I mean, he's just Bigfoot, but furrier. His fur's white, and he apparently prefers the cold. And he likes snow cones. If anybody got that Monster Inc. reference, you're my new best friend. He has long been considered as one of the biggest mythological creatures in the public eye, and they have tried for thousands of years to go after him, but instead have not found a single piece of evidence, unlike they have with Bigfoot. I didn't know that we had hard, definitive proof of Bigfoot, but apparently we do, according to this article. Large Bigfoot tracks have been found in the snow from a 2-legged human-like animal in the mountains of Asia. Therefore, people say that the mythological creature, the abominable snowman, lives in Asia and is so good at hiding that he can never be found. And this, the most mind-blowing thing is that apparently we have physical definitive proof that Bigfoot exists, according to what I just read. But I mean, why not? If I believe in Bigfoot, I gotta believe in the abominable snowman, right? Why not? I mean, stamp of approval. Excuse me. There's not been a whole lot of these conspiracy theories that I'm just like, no way. Not at all. I don't know why I sounded like George Takei right there, but no. But, like, let's be honest. I like a good conspiracy theory. There's some of them that are so stupid I can't get behind. Fake birds, flat earthers, fake moon, that airplanes are crop dusting human beings. I can't. My 9-year-old brain won't let me get past saying the word crop dusting without giggling a little bit, so I apologize. But, like, if we're being honest, I'm behind 90% of these, and some of them are just really cool and fun to believe in. And if this episode gets a lot of likes, I'd like to do a, when I say a lot of likes, give me, 3 likes. I'll take 2.5, okay? If 3 of you like this episode, if I get 3 listeners, we'll do a part 2, because this is a lot of fun, and I'd like to bring on a couple of my friends that I know are massive conspiracy theorists, because I think this would be a fun thing to debate. But that's it. There's your conspiracy theories part 1. Okay? Conspiracy theories part 1 is in the books. Make sure you're following at That's Life with Jacob on all of its social media so you can stay up to date, enjoy exclusive content, exclusive videos. We've got a really fun TikTok that's starting to boom. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of videos from guests, a lot of exclusive content that you will not get via podcast stream only. So at That's Life with Jacob, all lowercase, all one word. Nothing crazy here on all of its social media so you can stay up to date with everything we have going on, enjoy exclusive fun and free content. And listen, we're going to be back with you next week. I'm going to be back with you next week. There might be a guest. There might not be. It might be a serious topic. It might be fun. Who knows what life is going to bring. Once again, everybody, I'm Jacob Courtwright, and that's life.
That's life. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April.